PalWorld has over 100 pals, but in your first few hours you really only need 4. I will show you what they are good for, how they help, and exactly where to find them even if you have only just started playing the game. You do not need to be familiar to do so, and even if you have been playing the game a bit before, this will definitely help you out. The first one is by far the simplest, and yet the most important. That is of course Cativa. It can be found right outside the main base, and this thing can do basically everything around the base, including mining, which is very important in the mid game and the late game. So don't forget, Cativa is great all around, carrying things, mining things, doing whatever you need it to do. This next one is incredibly valuable both in combat and at the base, and its name is Tansy. It can be found up near the Chillet. Run out from the grassy Behemoth Hills, and after you hit the sandy clearing, take a right. At the top of the hill, there are Tansy all over the place. Now they won't always be in the same spot, but they are always in this general vicinity. It can chop down wood for your base. It can also plant seeds to make your base self-sustaining. After Tansy, you will however require a Pengullet to help water your crops. Without the two of them in combination, your base cannot end up being self-sustaining. Starting from the grassy Behemoth Hills again, it should be on the sandy shore just as you exit the clearing. Now keeping in mind, sometimes you may need to run around a bit to help it appear. Sometimes it's up higher on the river and sometimes it's right in front of you, and they usually come in groups, so they're kind of hard to miss. It can also carry goods around your base, absolutely fantastic in combat with its icy attacks that can freeze enemies for you, and it can also help gather items, and as I said before, water your crops to make your base self-sustaining. Lastly, this one might seem unimportant on the surface, but it is actually invaluable. The one and only Vixie. After leaving the grassy Behemoth Hills and then taking a left, you will need to explore this entire region. It's not always in the one spot, but it is always in this general area. Vixie will appear eventually, but they can be quite rare. Make sure not to mess up the Palsphere and don't kill it before you manage to capture it. When grazing in the ranch, it can gather really awesome items. It can gather things like Palspheres, arrows, other goodies. And since Palspheres and Paldium ore is really hard to come by, this thing is one of the most useful things you can have in your base, especially at the start of the game, when you need as many Palspheres as possible to help you level up. Remembering that the easiest way to level up in PalWorld is by capturing as many pals as possible. I suggest keeping at least one Vixie on the ranch from base level 5 onwards. If you can get 2 or even 3 in there as your base level expands, then I definitely highly recommend that as well. On every single playthrough through your journey into PalWorld, these 4 pals can easily carry through your base until even the mid game or you get your second and third bases up. And even when you have got your base really heavily upgraded, these things are still great to have on the base, and they're also really useful in combat. They might not be the same thing as say a Tombat, but they can do the job pretty well. You should also consider that when you're looking for pals, you can look for some that have the better worker trait that increases their productivity by almost 2-fold. Once you have this trait on all of these pals, your base efficiency will go through the roof. Don't underestimate all these pals in combat, although I would say Pengullet and Tansy are the standouts, especially when you get the equipment for Tansy, allowing it to use its little submachine gun. Thanks for watching the video. If you gained something from this video, please subscribe down below. I'm going to be having premium PalWorld content coming to you all the time, and I'll be also talking about other games in the future. If you want to learn more about upcoming games, then please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe.